we present the fortunes and misfortunes of the famous Moll Flanders, who was born in Newgate jail, and during a life of continued variety for 70 years, besides her childhood, was 12-year a whore, 5 times a wife, whereof once to her own brother, 12-year a thief, 8-year a transported felon in Virginia, at last grew rich, lived honest, and died a penitent. Written from her own memorandums.
Welcome to hell.
Thank you.
Follow me. Stick close.
Oh, can we read you?
Get back, you dog. Get back. Sorry about that, sir.
That's quite all right.
Must be quite a shock to a gentleman of your gentility, sir, a place like this.
Oh, no. In fact, I was here myself many years ago.
Damn right.
Yes, in my wild youth.
It must have been wild, sir, if you ended up in Newgate.
Well, you know, just a bit of bother.
Sexual bother, was it?
Oh, no, nothing like that.
Only it usually is when people aren't specifics.
It was a sort of misunderstanding.
Well, she said no, and you thought she said yes.
Oh, good God, no. No, I wrote a pamphlet which offended some very powerful people.
Oh, satire.
Indeed.
Or taking the piss, as we call it round here. We get a black eye for it, and your kind end up in the pillory. Here he is, Mr. Mist.
Yes.
Fellow satirist for you, Mr. Fowl.
Oh, right. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Nathaniel. How are you?
I'm in Newgate jail. How do you think I am?
Yes, sorry, quite right.
I'll leave you gentlemen to it then.
Thanks, Dave. Well, welcome to my dungeon.
I'll be off then. Oh, hello.
Oh, this is Elizabeth.
Hello.
She's a friend of mine.
So I see.
Who's this?
Oh, this is Mr. Defoe.
Defoe.
Oh, sorry. Defoe. Daniel Defoe.
The Life and Strange Surprising Adventures of Robinson Crusoe. That Daniel Defoe.
Yes.
We're honoured.
She's surprisingly well read for a...
For a whore.
Well,
You're surprisingly tactless. For a gentleman.
To be fair, that's why you're in here, mate.
shall I pay you now, mistress?
If you wouldn't mind, in ready money if you have it.
Enough for you, I do.
Thanks.
Here you go.
Au revoir then. Gros cochon, j'espère que vous êtes infecté avec les variole. Cheery bye.
What did she say?
She hopes you get smallpox.
Rather lovely, isn't she?
Well, if you like that kind of thing.
How's Mary?
Who?
Your wife?
Oh, that Mary.
Which Mary do you think I meant?
Well, I know a lot of Marys.
Yes. All right, is she?
Yes, fine, thanks. What did you say your friend's name was? Elizabeth?
Atkins. I met her at that coffee house in Covent Garden, King's. Extraordinary woman. Had more husbands than Henry VIII had wives.
What, 7?
Well, I don't know exactly, but quite a few. One of which was her own brother.
What? Married her own brother?
Or half-brother, to be precise.
Good Lord.
According to her. Hey, you should write a book about her, Daniel.
Maybe I will. I could use the money.
Still in Queer Street, then?
Afraid so. Bailiff's at the door. The way things are going, I'll be coming back here for a spell.
Look, can I get you a drink or something? What, port, Madeira, Fino?
Got any gin?
I'll have a look. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, what do I owe this pleasure? There you go. Cheers.
Cheers. Did you write this?
What?
Read it.
No, but I wish I had done. Yeah, presumably they mean you.
Yeah, presumably, yes.
Fantastic. It actually scans and rhymes. Oh.
Oh, God, you're not going to sing it, are you?
No, that false face which the knave puts on writes one day pro and the next day con. No faker fake can be found in story. 1 hour a Whig and the next a Tory. Dissenter now and then High Church, and then leaves both sides in the lurch. A fawning, canting, two-faced knave, these words are fittest for his grave. A look Here's the bribes which he was paid when he his countrymen betrayed. He'll cheer whoever pays him most, but fear ye not, this wretch is a toast. Ha ha! Brilliant.
It's not funny, Nathaniel.
Oh, it is, actually.
Not to me. I can't sleep at night. I have this dreadful feeling that people are ganging up on me.
With good reason. You're a complete arsehole.
Oh, you can talk.
Well, and that's probably why we get on so well.
I was thinking, if I could just find out who wrote it, then perhaps I could sue them and use the money to pay off some of my creditors.
Wouldn't it be simpler just to write another book?
I am, don't worry. I'm writing more than one. I'm writing The Further Adventures of Robinson Crusoe, and I'm also writing Serious Reflections during the Life and Surprising Adventures of Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, right.
I know what you're going to say. I need some new material.
Maybe it's time to move out of your comfort zone. Your adoring public's going to become weary of desert islands.
That's what Mary said. Although she didn't say a weary.
Why does she put up with you? You're a stub of a man. Blubbery, ill-featured, short-tempered and permanently skipped. I mean, I know love's blind, but Jesus.
Yeah, well, look, I better shoot before they lock up for the night.
Well, you're not staying for dinner, then?
No, I've got work to do.
Oh.
King's Coffee House, did you say? That place in Covent Garden? Where you met,
Elizabeth, yes, you old rogue. Give her one for me.
Nathaniel, you know me better than that. She's a book, not a... Lucy?
Yes, sir?
Where's your mistress?
At a toilet, sir.
Oh, well, will you tell her that I'm going out for the evening and not to wait up?
Yes, sir. Shall I tell her where it is you're going, sir?
Just doing some research for my new book.
Very well, sir. Sir?
Yes, Lucy?
Mistress says you may have to let me go, sir, if you don't get no money by the end of the month, she says.
Yes, well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I hope not, sir, since I would be cast out on the streets and should probably starve, sir.
Leave it with me, Lucy. I'll see what I can do.
Should I give you back your necklace that you gave me, sir, so that you might get some money for it and be able to keep me on?
I'm sure that won't be necessary.
I wear it always, sir.
Yes, it's very pretty. Anyway, moustache. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I wonder if you could help me. I'm looking for a certain lady, Mrs. Elizabeth Atkins. I've been told I might find her here of an evening.
Who?
Atkins. Elizabeth Atkins.
Could we have a bit of hush, please? This gentleman here is looking for Elizabeth Atkins. Anyone seen her? Elizabeth Atkins, the prostitute? He asked.
Yes, I heard what he asked.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yes, that's the one, I think.
You only think? Aren't you sure?
Yes, all right, yes, that Elizabeth Atkins.
The prostitute? Mm-hmm. What?
Yes, it doesn't really matter. She's obviously not here.
Oh, you're Foe, aren't you? Daniel Defoe, the author.
Yes, all right. Why don't we just complete my humiliation?
I thought your book was rubbish.
Thanks.
Anyway, if you're looking for Elizabeth Atkins, you should try The Hanged Man at Whitechapel. I believe you're about to have a
When a woman debauched from her youth comes to give an account of all her vicious practices, an author must be hard put to wrap it up so clean as not to give offence.
Debauched? Who are you calling debauched? I suppose you didn't debauch me just now, did you? No, because it's different when you're the debaucher, isn't it? When you're the man.
Look, can you just... Would you mind? I'm trying to write.
Let's have a look.
No.
What are you writing?
A book.
Another one?
Yes.
What kind of a book?
Storybook.
With lots of stories in it?
No, just one.
Just one? That's novel. Come on, let me see.
What for?
I'm interested. Is it another desert island one?
No, this one's different.
All the exploits of this lady of fame in her depredations upon mankind stand as so many warnings to honest people to beware of them. Your handwriting's terrible, by the way.
I know.
So how much will you get for this book?
Depends how many people buy it.
How much did you get for the desert island one? Must have been a lot.
Not that much. I mean, you have to pay the printer and the bookseller. Works out less than you think.
How much then?
Can't remember offhand.
Do you want to do it again?
Do what again?
You know.
Oh, that. Not right now, thanks.
I won't charge you. Much. Extra. What's the matter? Don't you find me,
Yes. Yes, I do. I do. I find you very... very... Oh, Christ.
Well then?
Look, tell me again, the bit about your brother, your half-brother.
What? Now?
Yeah, I just want to get it straight in my head. You married him?
Yes.
By accident?
That's right, yeah.
Nobody's going to believe that.
What do you mean nobody's going to believe it?
I mean, you know, just hypothetically, if someone was to write that down, say, in a book or a pamphlet, people will find it borderline implausible at best.
Are you calling me a liar?
No, that's not what I meant.
They wouldn't have to believe it. It's what happened.
Yes, but it just doesn't seem very likely, does it?
Look, I met this bloke at random in London, a city of approximately 500,000 people. I wasn't expecting it to be my brother, all right? I didn't even know I had a brother. I mean, what are the chances?
Well, exactly, this is my point.
So, this book you're writing, it's about me, isn't it?
Not exactly, no.
Who's it about, then?
Well, it's someone like you.
A woman.
Yes.
Called?
Moll.
Moll what?
Flanders.
You just thought of that, didn't you?
No.
Yes, you did. I saw your eyes move. That's what people do when they're thinking of a lie. Don't piss me about. I've had a lifetime of it.
All right, I just thought of it. So what? How the hell did you learn to read, anyway?
What? You mean me? A common prostitute?
Yes, if you like.
Same way as you did, I expect. Somebody taught me.
Who?
My nurse, if you must know.
You had a nurse?
Yes, I had a nurse.
Now then, young lady, 'tis high time you and your sisters climbed up the wooden hill to Bedfordshire.
Hang on. Sorry.
No worries.
Could we just rewind for a second?
You're paying.
Didn't you tell me you were born in Newgate jail?
Which reminds me, how much money have you got?
Hey?
On you. How much?
Why?
I just want to be sure you've got enough to pay me.
Oh, yeah. How much did we say?
12 shillings, I told you. It's always 12 shillings.
All right. I don't need to get arsey. There you go.
About time, I shouldn't have to ask.
Right, so were you or were you not born in Newgate jail?
I believe I was. I'm told I was, yes.
By this nurse character?
That's right. We called her Nursey.
Okay. Carry on.
Prithee, Nursey, will you tell me again about my mother?
And then will you sleep?
Yes.
Your mother was a whore and a thief known to all of London as Calico Sarah, since it was her custom to steal pieces of fine holland, etc., from the drapers of Cheapside. And so it came to pass that on this one occasion she was convicted of stealing a piece of very good damask and was sentenced to hang. But you were the saving of her.
I was the saving of her.
She would have swung only she had you in her belly, little lady. And being found quick with child, the justices respited her for 7 months until she brought you into the world. In the cesspit of humanity that is Newgate jail. And after she had you weaned, she was called down to her former judgment, viz. Hanging. But thanks be to God, obtained the favour of being transported to the plantations.
Why didn't she take me with her?
Oh, well, I don't think she was allowed to, or you can be sure she would have done.
And will she come back to fetch me?
Yes, you can be sure of it.
How will she know where I am?
Now, that's enough questions for one night, young madam. Come on, to sleep. You're disturbing all the other little ladies.
I'm nobody's child. I'm nobody's child. Just like a flower, I'm growing wild. No mummy's kisses and no daddy's smile. Nobody loves me. I'm nobody's child.
Nursey had a little school in Colchester that the parish paid for. There must have been 24 of us girls, all of us orphans. And she taught us well, to read and write and spin and sew, stuff like that. I was happy, but it couldn't last because happiness never does.
Now then, young lady. The magistrates have been to see me. They say that now you are 8 years of age, you may no longer be a charge on the parish. It is time for you to earn your keep, my girl.
And how will I do that, Nursey?
You will be a cookmaid's drudge.
A drudge?
Yes, a helper.
But I don't want to be a drudge.
Helper, dear. Helper.
I don't want to be a helper.
Then how will you get your living?
By spinning worsted, the way you've taught me, Nursey.
It's hard work.
I don't mind that, as long as I don't have to leave you, Nursey. Please, Nursey, I want to stay here with you.
Thou foolish child. Thou art always crying. What does cry for?
Because they will take me away and put me to service and I can't work housework.
You will learn it in no time.
I won't. And if I can't do it, they will beat me, and the maids will beat me, and I am but a little girl and I can't do it.
Child, don't cry. I promise thee, I will speak to the magistrate and you will not go into service until you're a bigger girl.
A bigger girl?
Yes.
But then I must go at last.
Well, yes, you must.
But I don't want to go ever.
Now, listen, madam. What would you have? Is the child mad? What, would you be a gentlewoman?
Yes, a gentlewoman. That's what I would be. Why do you laugh at me? It's not funny.
And pray, how will you come to be a gentlewoman?
By hard work, by spinning worsted.
I see. And what can you earn by spinning worsted?
3p when I spin and 4p when I work plain work.
And will that be enough to make thee a gentlewoman?
Yes, if you will but let me live with you.
And who will buy the gentlewoman's clothes?
I don't care about clothes. You will have all that I earn.
Poor child, then how will you pay for your victuals?
I will have no victuals. Let me but live with thee.
Can you live without victuals?
Yes, yes. If I live with thee, I can.
Oh, come, child. Oh, you shan't go to service. I'll see to it. You shall spin and live with me.
Shall I?
Yes.
Really?
There.
And did you?
For a while. When I was 16, Nursey died, and the school was broken up. The youngest children were sent away, and the older ones were turned into the wide world, with neither lodging nor crust of bread to eat.
That's harsh.
A handsome young girl, such as I was.
Though you say so yourself.
Pardon?
Nothing.
It was the general opinion.
I'm sure it was.
A handsome young girl in that unfortunate circumstance is something akin to a bag of money or a jewel dropped onto the highway. Pray to whoever should next come along the road.
Whoa there! Oh, Mrs. Betty?
Yes, madam.
Hang on, Mrs. Betty?
It's what people called me.
Why did they call you that?
It was my name.
OK, keep going.
Mrs. Betty, I'm told you have nowhere to live now that Nurse's school is broken up.
That's right, madam.
What are your plans?
I don't have any, madam.
How would you like to come and live with us?
As your servant, madam?
Not exactly, no. The girls are very fond of you, Mrs. Betty. You would be more like a sister to them.
Then I'd like it very much, madam.
Well then, so it shall be. Hop in.
Sorry, who was that?
Mrs. Chumley. A good Christian lady. She and her daughters used to visit the school and took a fancy to me, for they found much amusement in my simple way of speaking.
Here she is, girls. Mrs. Betty is here.
I learnt to dance and speak French and sing. To see, to hear, to touch, to kiss, to die. With thee again in sweetest sympathy. And although my sisters had all the advantages of birth, I had the greater advantages of nature. I was prettier than them, and better shaped, and I sang better than they did, and danced better.
So you really fell on your feet there, then?
Oh, yes. As well as her 3 daughters, Mrs. Chumley had 2 sons. Robin.
Mrs. Betty.
Oh, Mr. Robin, you startled me.
Dear Betty, I am in love with you. Sorry, you're about to say something?
Oh, it's not important.
Oh, God, you're so pale.
Oh.
Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just saying there were 2 brothers. Robin and Robin's older brother, John.
Mrs. Betty.
Oh, Mr. Oh, Mr. John.
Mrs. Betty.
Robin was sweet, but Mr. John was masterful.
Come on. In here, quickly. I mean you no harm, Mrs. Betty.
Oh, I'm quite sure of it, sir.
Then will you allow me the liberty to... Good God, how many of these things are you wearing? I know it's in here somewhere.
What are you looking for, sir?
Your pearl, madam.
My what?
Oh, look, come, this is ridiculous. Every time I think I found it, there's another bloody layer.
Mr. John.
What is it?
Mr. John, while I have no reason to question the sincerity of your affection...
I sense a but coming.
Yes, and it's a big but.
What if you should fall for a child, is that it?
It is the woman's part.
Look, if it comes to it, I'll take care of you and the child too. And to settle your mind on the matter, here are 100 guineas.
Oh, my goodness. 100 guineas.
And I'll give you the same again every year until I marry you.
Marry me?
Yes.
You will marry me?
Oh, yes.
When?
When I come into my estate, which will be upon the death of my father. Until then, this is strictly entre nous. Understood?
Yes, of course.
So, deal?
Yes.
Than which you cannot say fairer.
I made no more resistance to him, but let him do just what he pleased, and as often as he pleased.
I see, so he ruined you.
Well, I mean, it's not as if I didn't enjoy it.
No, but he did actually strip you of your virtue and your modesty, right? After which you, as a woman, had nothing of value left to recommend you either to God's blessing or man's assistance.
Well, yes, but it was definitely worth it.
Never mind, I'll think of something moral. Something moral.
Well now, children, what have you been up to today? Well?
Oh, nothing much, Mother. Fairly uneventful as days go. Yeah, passing dull.
You're very quiet, Mrs. Betty. You're not usually this quiet. Is everything all right, dear?
Yes, Miss Chumley, perfectly.
You're trembling, child. Do you feel a draught?
Do you know, Mother, my brother Robin spent an hour at least this morning speaking of nothing but Mrs. Betty.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. Mrs. Betty this, Mrs. Betty that. Betty, Betty, Betty. Betty, 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 Betty. Anyone might think he was in love with her.
That was a private conversation.
Oops, my bad.
And what if I were to be in love with Mrs. Betty? What would that be to you?
Nothing, except the jade has not a groat to her name.
Don't call her that.
No, really, I don't mind.
For your sake, I wish you had half her stock in beauty. Look at her, look. She's utterly, utterly bewitching. And now look at yourself, you great lump.
Talk to the hand.
Now, children, please.
Well, really, Mother, she's just being horrible and spiteful because she's jealous of Mrs. Betty because Mrs. Betty is beautiful and she's just a plug-ugly munter.
A rich plug-ugly munter.
Fortunately, Robin, your sisters may be as plain as they like. Their fortunes more than make up for it.
Well, lucky old them. They wouldn't get a look in otherwise.
This is rapidly becoming rather tedious.
You brought it up, dog breath.
I mean, it seems that matters have come to pass when perhaps it was time this wench was out of the family. What say you, sisters?
Yes, I think
If she goes, I go.
Well, if you feel that strongly about it, then why don't you ask her to marry
I
you?
already have.
What?
This afternoon, as a matter of fact.
Well, now, Robin, really? I do think you might have spoken to your father and me about it first.
Well, hardly matters now because she turned me down.
She did what?
She turned you down?
Yes, all right. No need to rub it in.
You little...
Sister, I intend
Oh,
no
don't
insult.
sister me! How dare you refuse a match with my brother? After all this family has done for you, we dragged you quite literally out of the gutter.
It was around this point that I began to appreciate that being beautiful could have its disadvantages.
It must do.
Please believe me when I say I'm fully conscious of all that you've done for me. I'm an orphan. I have neither friend nor family but that which is seated around this table, and it was for that reason alone that I felt obliged to decline your brother's sincere and generous proposal. I would not for all the world bring shame upon this household.
Oh, you poor, poor thing.
No, really, there's no need. I'm fine.
Binky, Daisy, Amber, I think you should apologise.
Sorry.
Properly.
Sorry. Okay?
May I be excused?
Of course, dear. You run along.
Skanky slut.
I better make sure she's all right.
Yes, I think you should. Good boy.
Should I?
No, you stay here. I'll handle this.
Mrs. Betty!
What is it?
Quickly, in here. So, you've been busy. 2 offers of marriage in one day, you lucky girl.
I don't feel very lucky.
Listen to me. You must marry my brother.
What?
He's a good man. He will make a fine husband.
But I thought...
What did you think?
You said we would be married.
When I come into my estate, yes. Look, my father is hale and hearty. It could be another 30 years before he pegs it, trust me. It's better this way. Marry Robin, everyone's a winner.
But it's you I love.
I will give you £500.
So, I married Robin. Sweet Robin. And I lived with this husband 5 years and had 2 children by him. And at the end of 5 years, he died.
Oh.
He'd been a very good husband to me and we lived very agreeably together. And taking the elder brother's £500 into account, he left me a widow with about £1,200 in my pocket.
And 2 children?
Yes.
Boys or girls?
One of each.
And how old are they now?
Oh, let's see, they'd be...
Don't you know?
Oh, not exactly. No, my husband's mother and father were happy to take them off my hands.
Oh, I see.
It was better for them that way, better for all concerned.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure you're right. Do you ever see them?
No.
You must have other children.
1 or 2. Oh, God, if they're going to start that caterwauling, I'm going to piss off.
No, don't go.
Music makes me sad. I can't bear it. I don't know why people listen to it.
Wait, I really like this one.
He turned his face unto the wall, and death was with him dealing. Adieu,
my dear friends all, and be kind to Barbary Allen. Don't you think it's beautiful?
No, it's just depressing. Please let me go.
I wish you wouldn't.
Why are you looking at me like that? You're not going soft on me, are you?
Going soft on you?
I mean it. I've had enough middle-aged men with their pathetic rescue fantasies to last me a lifetime. This is strictly transactional. Understand?
I think so. Yes, I mean yes.
So why have your eyes gone all shiny?
I told you it's the music.
Well, I'm not in the mood. I'm going.
Well, it's been nice meeting you.
'Twas in the merry month of May, when green buds all were swelling, sweet William on his deathbed lay, for love of Barbary Allen.
Lucy, what are you doing in here?
Who is this woman?
What woman?
The woman in your book, Mrs. Flanders.
Oh, God, why did they ever teach you to read?
Are you in love with her? Is that how you've been meeting?
Look, Lucy, she's not a real woman. She's a composite.
Don't lie to me. She's real.
She's bits of different women. Do you understand?
You've been meeting lots of women.
Well, yes, in a way, and you're one of them.
Oh, thanks.
No, I don't mean it like that. Well, I'm very fond of you, Lucy.
You better be. You better be fond enough to keep me living under this roof, because if not, heaven help you. That's all I can say. Heaven help you, Mr. Foe.
Excuse me, landlord.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking for a woman.
Aren't we all, sir?
Mrs. Atkins, I was in here with her last week. Upstairs.
I know you mean, sir.
Well?
Are you buying a drink, sir?
What? Oh, yes, all right. I'll have a big thing of beer.
A flagon?
That's the one.
Coming up, sir.
So?
That'll be threepence, please, sir.
Threepence? 1, 2, 3. So?
What?
Have you seen her?
Who?
Mrs. Atkins, the woman I was in here with last week.
Oh, right. No.
What do you mean, no?
Hello?
Oh, thank goodness I found you.
Why? What's wrong?
I've been looking for you everywhere. You weren't at the coffee house, you weren't at the rookeries. I was beginning to think I'd never see you again. Look, I'm sorry if I upset you.
Why were you looking for me?
Well, I was hoping we could continue from where we left off.
Oh.
With your story.
Oh. So you do actually admit you're writing a book about me?
Yes, all right, I'm writing a book about you, but I'll pay you for your time, whatever the going rate is.
12 shillings. It's always 12 shillings.
Fine.
Shall we?
So, there you were. A merry widow, unencumbered by children, with £1,200 to your name.
Hmm.
And here you are now, with me.
Yeah.
So where did it all go wrong?
A birth, I suppose. I made the mistake of being born in Newgate jail, the daughter of Calico Sarah, a whore and a thief. A thing like that weighs heavy on a girl. I spent my life struggling, as it were, up a muddy, slippery slope.
Let me just dwell on that image for a moment.
You're funny.
Am I?
Not in a nice way.
How did you meet your brother?
The one I married?
Yes.
Half-brother.
Sorry.
Well, I was living in Camberwell, and my money was dwindling away. So after a year or so, I had about £460 remaining, a great many very rich clothes, a gold watch, and some random bits of bling, though of no extraordinary value, and about £30 or £40 left in linen. The circumstances I was in made the offer of a good husband the most necessary thing in the world to me, but I quickly found that beauty, wit, manners, good humour, education, or any of my other manifest qualities had any power to recommend, except as a mistress. Only money made a woman agreeable as a wife, and I had little of that. And so I began to attend the tea rooms in Whitehall and Mile End, and let it be known, in a roundabout sort of a way, by sort of judicious hints and half-smiles and modest glances and evasive answers, that I was in fact in possession of a considerable fortune. Though I soon became the chat of the tea tables all over town, and I had only then to wait for the ladies to pass on this intelligence to their husbands, as they surely would, and soon enough the suitors began to shamble up to my door. I chose one who, by the manner of his courting, seemed like a fair prospect. He told me in frank, open way, all his circumstances, by which I found he was very well to pass in this world.
The greater part of my estate consists of 3 plantations in Virginia, which bring me an income of £300 a year, but which would bring 4 times as much were I to live upon them.
Oh, my giddy aunt, I have not a fortune suitable to a gentleman of £1,200 a year.
I do not ask what your fortune is. I have told you from the beginning that I do not care. I am in love with you.
That's what you say now.
I mean it. You I love, and you alone.
And so in love says everyone.
Virtue alone is an estate.
But money is virtue, gold is fame.
I scorn your gold, and yet I love.
I'm poor, let's see how kind you prove.
Be mine with all your poverty.
Yet secretly you hope I lie.
Let love alone be our debate.
She loves enough but does not hate. And so we were married and soon aboard a ship, bound for my husband's holdings in the Americas. My dear, we've been married a fortnight. Is it not time to let you know whether you have got a wife with something or with nothing?
Your own time for that. I am satisfied that I have got the wife I love. I have not troubled you much with my inquiry after it.
That's true, but I have a great difficulty upon me about it, which I scarce know how to manage.
What's that, my dear?
Well, 'tis a little hard upon me, and 'tis harder upon you. I've heard there was in London a rumour abroad that I had a great deal more money than I ever pretended to have.
Well, I don't pay attention to gossip, but what then? If you have not so much, but you never told me what you had, so I have no reason to blame you if you have nothing at all.
Say that again?
If you have not so much... what was it?
If I had not so much, but I never told you what I had, then, Oh, did you write it down?
Oh, yes, hang on. If you had not so much, but you never told him what you had, then...
Yes, that's it. All right, it's all right, I've got it. Then I'd have no reason to blame you if you had nothing at all.
Right.
Happy with that?
I think so. I mean, yes, that is just so just and so generous that it just makes my having but a little a double affliction to me.
The less you have, my dear, the worse for us both. But I hope the affliction you speak of is not caused for fear I should be unkind to you for want of a dowry. No, no. If you have nothing, tell me plainly and at once. But I can never say you have cheated me, for did not you inform me through the medium of bel canto that you were indeed strapped for cash?
Well, my dear, I am glad I have not been concerned in deceiving you before marriage. If I deceived you since, 'tis now the worse. That I am poor is too true, but not so poor as to have nothing either. And with that, I pulled out some bank bills and gave him about £600. And now, my dear, says I to him, I am very sorry to tell you that there is all, and that I have given you my whole and entire fortune.
My dear, this is so much more than I had looked for, and so I accept it gratefully.
He owned that he had been in a terrible fright lest it had been zilch.
I did not question by your discourse to me, but that your fine clothes, gold watch, and other random bits of bling had been all your fortune.
There! Now we know everything about each other. It is the fairest course to begin a marriage.
Oh, I can't wait to introduce you to my mother. Right, I'm going below to check on the slaves.
Hurry back!
I will.
Holding the yard arm, sharp up to port. Aye!
To give a full account of our voyage, including such dangers as storms, slave mutiny, pirate invasion, kidnapping, numerous floggings, an outbreak of yellow fever and a whale attack, would be beyond the scope of this narrative. Suffice to say that at the conclusion of so many upsetting episodes, we arrived at last in York River, Virginia, and coming to my husband's plantation, were received with many sincere expressions of tenderness and affection by his mother.
Mother, this is Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, my dear, dear Elizabeth. What should I call you? Liz? Lizzie? Lisbeth? Betty?
No, not Betty.
Then I'll call you daughter, and you must call me mother.
Mother, yes, mother, that would be nice.
Are your own parents dead, dear?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, yes, they are dead. Yeah, both quite dead.
Oh, sad. Now, come and sit down by me. Come along, here by my elbow. That's it. Isn't this cosy? And we'll have some tea as soon as the boy brings it. Oh, where is that boy? Horatio! Horatio is our houseboy. And don't forget the biscuits this time, Horatio. I don't know about you, dear, but I cannot abide a cup of tea without a biscuit or a nice slice of Madeira cake.
My mother was a mighty, cheerful, good-humoured old woman with surprisingly powerful forearms, and used to divert me with abundance of stories while my husband was out in the fields overseeing the slaves.
Now, my dear, as I will tell you, the greatest part of the inhabitants of this colony came hither in very indifferent circumstances from England. That is to say, they are of two sorts, either slaves, like young Horatio here, or criminals, such as are transported from Newgate and other prisons.
People who would otherwise have been hanged.
Exactly so, daughter.
I know about this because, well, it doesn't matter how I know about it. Sorry, carry on.
Well, upon their arrival here, the convicts and the slaves are sold at auction and then work together in the fields until their time is served. When 'tis expired, they have encouragement given them to plant for themselves, for they have a certain number of acres of land allotted to them by the country, and they go to work to clear and cure the land, and then plant it with tobacco and corn for their own use, do you see? And upon credit of their crop they are given seeds and tools, and by this means they plant every year a little more than the year before, and by a Newgate bird becomes a great man. And we have several justices of the peace and magistrates of the towns they live in that have been burnt in the hand.
Burnt in the hand? What does that mean?
Oh, I'll show you. See?
Oh, my goodness, you've been branded.
You need not think a thing strange, daughter, for as I told you, some of the best men in this country are burnt in the hand, and they're not ashamed to own it, and nor am I. There's Major Bradley Willocks, who was an eminent pickpocket. Then there's Justice Bodkins. He was a shoplifter and a receiver of stolen goods, and both of them were burnt in the hand, and I could name you several more such. And as you see, I am one, and not at all ashamed to be so.
You were transported from England?
Yes, child, I was. 24 years ago.
24 years, goodness. It's all the time I've been in the world.
Yes, and in those years I've outlived 3 husbands and borne 11 children, built this house and made my fortune such that I may die happy in the knowledge that every one of them will be looked after.
But how had you come to be in Newgate, may I ask?
Oh, well, I'll tell you the manner of it, if you like, though the tale is a common one.
Please do.
Well, I fell into ill company in my young days, occasioned by my mother sending me frequently to carry victuals to a cousin of hers who is a prisoner in Newgate. It is the very womb of evil. Depend upon it. There are more thieves and rogues made by that one prison of Newgate than by all the gangs and societies of villains in the nation. 'Tis that cursed place that half-peopled this colony, and it was that place that turned me from an innocent maid into a convicted felon.
Oh, how awful.
I was schooled me in the art of shoplifting by my Newgate pals, and soon it became my custom to nick pieces of fine Holland or what have you from the drapers of Cheapside. I got the name Calico Sarah, such was my reputation. And when at last I came before the beak for stealing a piece of good damask, I was sentenced to hang, and I would have if I had not fallen pregnant.
Calico Sarah?
Yes, dear. So I pleaded my belly, and thanks be to God the justices respited me 7 months until the baby was born.
7 months?
Yes, dear. And by the time I had it weaned, I'd obtained the favour of being transported here to the plantations.
Your baby saved you?
It did indeed. God love it.
And where is it now, this baby?
Oh, I don't know that, dear.
It would be about my age, I suppose.
Yes, I suppose it would.
And that'd be a common tale, you say?
Oh, yes, dear, common enough. I'm sure there were 1,000 Calico Sarahs.
1,000?
Well, yes, by many another name, of course, but the story was ever the same.
So, you were the only actual Calico Sarah.
Yes, dear. Your street name is your street name. There can be only one. Why do you ask? Are you all right, dear? You look a bit seasick.
Your baby, was it a boy or...
A girl, dear. I had to give her up, of course.
Who did you give her to?
Well, one of my Newgate sisters had a relative who ran a little school for orphans in Colchester. I gave the child to her and all I had besides, which was not much above £2 and a few shillings. But it was all I had and nothing left over.
And you've heard nothing of her since?
Not a word, nor did I expect to.
Have you ever wondered what might have become of her?
Oh, yes, every so often, dear. And now we're talking too much upon the subject and I will become flustered. Come, shall we take a turn along the veranda? You do look very pale indeed.
Mother.
Oh, daughter, Elizabeth! Horatio! Horatio, Miss Elizabeth has fainted. Quickly, fetch some water.
Had the story never been told, all had been well, but it had, and I was now the most unhappy of all women in the world. I felt certain that this woman was no more or less than my own mother, and I was therefore married to and had lain with my own brother. And what was worse...
Elizabeth, my mother said you were taken ill. Are you all right?
I think I'm pregnant. Jemmy!
You squalid bitch, just as I thought.
What's going on? Who the bloody hell is this?
You blackguards.
Jemmy, no.
Do you know this person?
He's my husband.
Your what?
On your feet, you scoundrel. Get up.
Your husband?
Yes.
Listen, mate, I had no idea...
Shut up! Put your clothes on, woman.
Look.
And you, sir, I will have my honour.
Listen, you're welcome to it. Please, I'm really not into...
I challenge you...
Oh, God.
Stop interrupting. I challenge you to a duel.
Look, can we just... Everybody take a deep breath. Firstly, I wouldn't know one end of a... pistol. Is that the correct term?
For a pistol, it is, yes.
Right. One end of a pistol from the other. So
what?
So it's not a fair fight, is it? And I mean, how can it be honourable if it's not fair, eh?
He's got a point.
So what are you suggesting?
Suggesting?
Yes, as an alternative.
To a duel?
Yes.
Well...
Clinky, clinky.
What?
Clinkety, clink.
What's that?
Is that what you're driving at?
I have no idea what you...
It's the sound of money.
Oh, I see.
Are you offering to buy me off?
Well, I hadn't thought of that.
Because I wouldn't necessarily be averse to the idea.
I see. We've moved fairly swiftly from honour to clinky.
Well, you're the one who said no to a duel.
Did you know he was coming?
No, I...
Look here. I think it would be very much in your interest to make a settlement with me.
Did you?
No, honestly.
OK. I'm going to read you something. Hang on. God, having first ordained matrimony and solemnized the first nuptials in paradise, it cannot be denied to be God's holy ordinance. How our notions of it are degenerated, the bonds of it disregarded, and the whole institution blah, 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 blah. Do you recognize that?
It rings a bell.
That's because you wrote it.
Oh, that was me, was it?
Yes.
Well, that's quite good, wasn't it? Forthright.
So what do you think would happen if it got out that the author of an essay on matrimony was having it off with a common prostitute? No offence.
Piss off.
None taken.
Yeah, but the thing is, people know me. I'm a sort of moral chameleon, you know. I have this facility for writing very persuasively and with complete conviction on both sides of the argument. So I don't think it would come as any great shock if people found out that I was a hypocrite in real life.
Right. OK. You're married.
I am, yes.
Happily.
Well, you know.
And how would your wife feel if she found out about this?
Pretty cut up, I suppose. About the money, mainly, the expense. You know, she has to run the household on quite a tight budget.
Oh, this is a bloody disaster! Oh, I'm starting to feel sorry for him now.
Oh, come on. This is a setup, isn't it? You knew he was coming.
Well, duh.
That's pretty shabby, if you ask me.
Well, who are you, Sir Galahad? You paid me for sex. And you
dickhead.
What?
What? You blew the gap.
I didn't think there was any point pretending anymore.
You're the worst con artist I've ever worked with. Clinkety clink. What the hell's that supposed to be?
Money, obviously.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, I'm fed up. I'm fed up.
Okay.
It's my crappy life. I feel like I'm trapped in one of those bloody awful Italian comedies, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being the buffoon.
Just put the piss pot down, Mrs. Atkins.
Is everything all right up there?
Yes, thank you, landlord. Yes, everything's fine.
I heard a racket.
Yes, sorry about that. We'll try to keep it down.
Oh, well, are you sure everything's all right?
Quite sure, thank you.
I suppose you're going to call a constable now?
I've a good mind to, I can tell you, but I won't. I wouldn't want to get you into trouble.
Very decent of you. Does anyone fancy a pint?
Yeah, I wouldn't say no.
I'm buying. So, you're writing a book about my missus, I gather?
Not exactly about her. It's a sort of a composite.
Well, look, if you're going to write a book about her, don't you think you should weigh her in? I mean, if you're getting money for it, she should get some too. It's only fair.
Well, there's not much money in books, really.
That's not what your maid said. She said you made a ton of money from the desert island one.
My maid?
Yes, Lucy.
When did you speak to Lucy?
When I followed you home after last week's bonkathon.
You followed me home?
Yeah.
What'd you do that for?
Well, call me old-fashioned, but I like to check up on the people I'm sleeping with.
I see. So, what did she tell you?
Right, you made a packet from that book. She said you told her in a private moment. And you bought her some gifts with the money. Private gifts.
That's why we picked on you, you see. We thought you were loaded, as well as utterly compromised.
Look, the money I make, it just vanishes. I've so much debt, so many creditors. Trust me, I'm not a wealthy man.
Okay. Okay. Forget about the upfront cash. Why don't we make an agreement?
What kind of an agreement?
Let's say 25%. You give her 25% of the profits from your book.
Why would I do that?
Because if you don't, she won't tell you the rest of the story.
15.
20. Split the difference. Deal?
Okay.
You happy with that, babe?
Suppose.
And I'm going to want 40% of your 20.
What?
Well, say he gives you £20, I'll take 8.
For what?
For getting you the 20%.
I could have done that myself.
Well, why didn't you then?
Well, maybe I would have if you hadn't stuck your oar in.
Hang on, aren't you two married?
I keep my finances separate. I've learnt the hard way.
Isn't she a diamond?
So, how did you two meet?
Stand and deliver! Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry to interrupt your journey, but I'm afraid my colleague and I would like to relieve you of your cash and any random bits of bling you might have about you. My God, you're gorgeous.
Thanks.
What a romantic story. That's going straight in the book.
It's not long after that I returned from the Americas.
Which one is it, landlord?
That's her there.
Elizabeth Atkins.
Who wants to know?
I'm arresting you in the name of the law. Come here, you. You're coming with us.
What's going on?
Take your hands off my wife.
Jemmy?
Right. Take your hands off her.
Jemmy? Jemmy!
Next week on Moll Flanders.
How are you?
Great, obviously.
Daniel visits Elizabeth in Newgate jail.
I'm frightened. They might hang me.
They won't do that.
How do you know? They hang children for stealing handkerchiefs. What makes you think they wouldn't hang a whore for whatever it is they think I've done?
Then Daniel has a brilliant idea.
Why don't you do what your mother did and plead your belly?
Because for once in my life, I'm not actually up the duff.
Elizabeth asks Daniel if that's a portable inkwell in his pocket or if he's just pleased to see her.
It's a portable inkwell. It means I can write absolutely anywhere. All I need is paper, pen, ink, spare nibs, spare ink, a blotter and something to lean on.
Daniel continues to write the story of Elizabeth's life and love.
I'll say he's subsided into a state of melancholy. Would that be close?
After he stopped shouting, yes.
Her life of crime.
Someone should search this wench.
Oh, do we?
Oh, get your filthy hands off me, you pervert.
Her fortunes and misfortunes, and her final, pathetic decline into submissive penitence.
You're going to make me repent?
What's wrong with that? Don't you want to repent?
No.
Culminating in her appearance at the Old Bailey, charged with an almost unfeasibly large number of hanging offences.
First case, Crown versus Atkins. Prisoner in the dock. How do you...
Read the indictment.
Oh, sorry, Your Honour. Quite right. First things first.
How will it end? Will she swing from the string? Will she hear the bell ring? Tune in at the same time next week to hear the verdict.
Elizabeth Atkins, it is the sentence of this court...
Don't give it away, you wally. In Moll Flanders by Daniel Defoe, Moll Flanders was played by Jessica Hynes and Daniel Defoe by Ben Miles. Mr. Mist was Brian Protheroe, Lady Chumley, Elizabeth Bennet, Robin, Sam Ricks, and John was Tom Forrester. Jemmy was played by Blake Ritson, Lucy, Kirsty Oswald, the nurse Claire Perkins, and young Moll was Alex Jarrett. Rob was Nick Underwood, the jailer, Sean Baker, and the coffee shop customer was Jason Barnett. The harpsichord was played by Peter Ringrose. Moll Flanders was adapted by Nick Perry, and the director was Sasha Yevtushenko. We present the fortunes and misfortunes of the famous Moll Flanders, who was born in Newgate jail and during a life of continued variety for 70 years besides her childhood, was 12-year a whore, 5 times a wife, whereof once to her own brother, 12-year a thief, 8-year a transported felon in Virginia, at last grew rich, lived honest and died a penitent. Written from her own memorandums. Previously on Moll Flanders.
Au revoir then, gros cochon, j'espère que vous êtes infecté avec les variole. Cheery bye.
What did she say?
She hopes you get smallpox.
The time, the early 18th century. The place, Newgate Jail.
Welcome to hell. Thank you.
Armed with nothing but a portable inkwell, Daniel Defoe begins to write the story of the infamous courtesan Elizabeth Atkins, who he renames Moll Flanders, for legal reasons.
Tell me again, the bit about your brother, your half-brother.
What, now?
I just want to get it straight in my head. You married him?
Yes.
By accident?
That's right, yeah.
Nobody's going to believe that.
Daniel's jealous maidservant, Lucy Smart, suspects that he's having an affair.
Who is this woman? What woman? The woman in your book, Mrs. Flanders.
God, why did they ever teach you to read?
Things start to get complicated when Elizabeth's jealous husband, Jemmy, bursts in on them in flagrante.
I challenge you to a duel.
Look, can we just everybody take a deep breath? Firstly, I wouldn't know one end of a pistol. Is that the word for it?
Oh, for a pistol? It is, yes.
Right. One end of a pistol from the other. So
what?
So it's not a fair fight, is it? And I mean, how could it be honourable if it's not fair, eh?
He's got a point.
Then one night in a London pub, everything goes tits up.
That's her there. Elizabeth Atkins.
Who wants to know?
I'm arresting you in the name of the law. Come here, you. You're coming with us.
What's going on?
Pretty soon, Elizabeth is languishing in Newgate jail, awaiting trial.
Welcome back to hell.
Thank you.
I'll lead the way, shall I?
Please do.
Oh, mind the open suicide.
Thanks.
One's eyes take a while adjusting to the dark.
Indeed.
So, who is it this time? Mr. Mist again, or some other satirist, perhaps?
No, Mist got out.
Oh.
It's Mrs. Atkins.
Atkins. Atkins.
Elizabeth Atkins?
Oh, Betty. A friend of yours, is she?
Sort of, yes.
Ah, say no more, sir. Popped in for a bunk up, have we?
No, not at all, no. I've come to see how she is.
She's in Newgate jail, sir. Than which you cannot sink lower.
True.
As you know yourself, sir, if I recall correctly.
Indeed, indeed.
Now, Mrs. Atkins is in the common ward, which is straight ahead of you, sir.
Right. Aren't you coming?
No, sir. More than my life's worth, sir. Normally there'd be at least 2 of us, but we're short-handed today. Just stick to the lit-up areas. You should be fine, sir.
Right, OK. Thanks.
No worries. Mind how you go.
Elizabeth? Elizabeth?
I'll kill
you and eat you.
Oh, shove off, you tit.
Oh, sorry,
You're
sir.
an idiot. Do you get some kind of kick out of scaring people?
Well, yeah.
Bloody creep. Oh, Elizabeth? Elizabeth Atkins?
Who wants her?
Ah, Elizabeth, it's me. Daniel. Hello.
Mr. Foe, what are you doing here?
I came to see you.
After a shag, are you?
No, I was... What is it with everyone today? I was concerned about you. I wanted to see if there was anything I could do for you.
You could get me out of this place.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. How are you?
Great, obviously.
Okay.
I'm frightened. They might hang me.
They won't do that.
How do you know? They hang children for stealing handkerchiefs. What makes you think they wouldn't hang a whore for whatever it is they think I've done?
Why don't you do what your mother did and plead your belly?
Because for once in my life, I'm not actually up the duff, which is just typical of my bloody luck.
Well, you should bear in mind that on average, only about 20% of death sentences are actually carried out. So...
That's cold comfort, Daniel.
All right. Calm down. Look, have a drink. I brought a bottle of port.
I don't like port. Port's an old man's drink.
Well, I'll open it anyway, shall I? Maybe you'll fancy a bit in a minute.
Is that port? Did someone say port?
Look, keep your distance. I may not look much, but I've got a temper, I'm warning you.
Well, fair enough.
Go on, have a bang on that. It'll put hairs on your chest.
All right.
I've been working on our book. I thought you might like to read some of it.
Mm-hmm.
In case I've left something out, or...
Let's have a look then. Hold the bottle. What does this mean?
What?
To give the history of a wicked life repented of.
That's the,
Necessarily requires that the wicked part should be made as wicked as the real history of it will bear.
Yeah, that's just the preamble.
To illustrate and give beauty to the penitent part. What penitent part?
Ah.
What's that meant to mean, penitent?
Well, that's later on. That the later part of your life, which obviously I'll have to invent to a certain degree.
You'll have to invent all of it, won't you? I mean, it hasn't happened yet, has it?
True, but...
The way things are going, it won't happen at all.
Well, let's not get...
You're going to make me repent.
What's wrong with that? Don't you want to repent?
No. Why should I? What have I ever done except try and keep body and soul together? It's not been easy, you know. I am a woman alone in the world.
I couldn't agree with you more, but if this book is going to sell, and we do want it to sell, then we can't afford to piss anyone off.
Except me, apparently.
Look, nobody's going to know it's you.
Yes, they will. I'm notorious. They'll work it out.
So what are the charges against you? Have they said?
Bigamy, incest, child destruction, theft.
Right, so quite serious, really.
You could say that, yeah. All hanging offences.
Well, isn't these days? And is there anything to them, these charges?
Yes and no. Mainly, yes. I mean, it's me we're talking about here, Daniel. I just got a feeling I'm properly screwed this time, you know. I have no family. My friends have all buggered off or turned against me.
I'm still here.
Well, that makes me feel so much better.
I know attorneys, some quite good ones. What I'm thinking is, if we put a case together...
Why bother? Once they've decided you're guilty, that's it.
All right, well, it's just a thought. I seem to be irking you. Perhaps I should leave you in peace.
Oh, Mr. Foe. Why are you trying to help me?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I have a vague memory of once having been a gentleman.
Seriously?
I need to finish this book. I suppose I could do it without you, but it'd be easier with.
You know I can't afford a lawyer.
Me neither.
Well, there you go, then.
Perhaps I could call in a favour or two. Our friend Mr. Mist, for example.
I thought he was a printer.
He read law at Cambridge, which is presumably how he managed to talk his way out of this place.
Do you really think that would make any difference?
Worth a shot, isn't it?
I doubt it.
You still want me to go?
No, not yet. Let's do a bit more book, shall we?
OK, if you like.
What's that?
It's a portable inkwell. It's brilliant, isn't it? It means I can write absolutely anywhere. All I need is paper, pen, ink, spare nibs, spare ink, a blotter and something to lean on.
Oh, right.
So, what happened to your American husband?
Well, I left him.
OK.
I mean, he was my brother. I couldn't bear to be anywhere near him, let alone have him touch me. Eventually, he went running to his mother.
She won't let me anywhere near her.
Oh, you poor boy.
And now she says she wants to return to England.
And has she told you why?
She simply refuses to discuss it.
And so my mother came and spoke to me.
Whatever is the matter, dear daughter? He's at his wits' end, the poor lad. I don't like to see him like this. He is my son, after all. Why won't you tell him what's on your mind?
And so I told her that as well as being my mother-in-law, she was also my actual mother, and her son, my husband, was also my brother.
And how does she take it?
I don't know whether to cry or shit. My daughter?
Yes.
My very own girl?
There can be no doubt about it.
Oh, my dear. My dear.
She embraced me and kissed me, and she stared at me with eyes glistening. And then she threw herself down on the divan with her face in her hands and howled and howled.
Mixed emotions, then. And what about your brother husband, your husbrother, your brother-band? Did you tell him to?
In the end, I had to. It didn't seem fair to keep him in the dark, whatever the cost.
And how did he react?
Not well.
Oh, God. Oh, God. No, God, no. Why? Why? Why?
I'll say he subsided into a state of melancholy. Would that be close?
After he stopped shouting, yes. He took to his bed and didn't get up again. For all I know, he's lying there still.
OK, go on.
And so I bid my mother farewell and set sail for England. With a cargo of cured Virginia tobacco in the hold and my brother's child in my belly. On board, I met a man.
That didn't take long.
What?
Keep going.
A well-to-do kind of man.
Quelle surprise.
A merchant who took a keen interest in the cargo I was bringing to England.
You would not go far amiss, madam, were you to invest your profit from the sale of this tobacco to realise an even greater return, and at no cost to yourself in either time or labour.
Fascinating.
Yes, well, that's how rich people become rich. They set their money to work for them.
And what should I invest in, would you say?
Anything.
Anything?
Yes, anything. Shipping, corn, insurance, slaves, fish, silk. The more you put in, the more you get back. Have you heard of the South Sea Company?
He told me his stock in this company had risen in value from £500 to 5,000 in the space of 1 year. That is a stupendous increment.
Thank you. If you like, I could advise you on your investments, and your husband's too.
Thank you very much. Actually, I don't have a husband.
Oh.
Naughty, naughty.
I am a widow.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
You haven't heard the half of it, mate.
And you, sir, do you have a wife?
I have a wife and no wife.
What do you mean?
I mean, my wife is a whore.
Really?
Some women are whores by necessity. My wife is one by inclination. The last time I was out of England, she had 2 children by a cavalry officer.
You were away for quite a while, then?
3 years, after which, and upon her submission, I took her again, like the fool I am, and maintained her very well until she ran away with a linen draper's apprentice.
Oh, you poor man.
Madam, I would fain be rid of her, that I might marry again.
Then you must divorce her, if you can prove what you say.
Oh, that is very tedious and expensive.
Well, then I suppose your wife would not dispute your taking the liberty that she takes herself. I mean, were you to settle upon an honest woman who found your company agreeable?
If I thought an honest woman would take me, then I might venture it.
I'm sure an honest woman would.
Would you take me, madam?
Me?
He didn't hang around, did he? I don't suppose you told him you weren't an honest woman?
Cheeky. Of course I didn't. I played with this lover as an angler does with a trout. In short, I turned him down.
No, that answer will not do. I am in earnest, madam. Consider of it.
I have done, and I will give you the same answer again.
Then what should I do? I'm determined you will have me.
Then get a divorce. Without the which, could any woman alive believe you in earnest or think you design anything but to banter her?
I do not banter you, madam. However, I will not say any more of it until I have gotten the divorce.
Good. We parted at Tilbury Docks.
Will you write?
If you will. And as we bade each other farewell, the thought struck me. What an abominable creature am I, and how is this innocent gentleman going to be abused by me? How little does he think that having divorced a whore, he'll be marrying another, one that's lain with 2 brothers, and is even now quick with her own brother's child, One that was born in Newgate, whose mother is a transported thief. One that has lain with 13 men.
13?
Maybe not 13.
Less or more?
Look, that's beside the point. Poor gentleman, said I to myself. What am I going to do?
Marry him, presumably.
I took lodgings at Bow Common and waited upon my gentleman's missives. They came thick and fast.
There's another letter for you, Mrs. Atkins.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Swadley.
An ardent admirer, this one.
Indeed, he's a gentleman, very well-to-do in the world, wishes to court me.
And do you like him?
He has 500 a year and 1,000 acres in Yorkshire.
What's not to like?
But here's the rub. I am with child.
I see. Well, you aren't showing yet.
I will, soon enough.
Well, can you keep the fellow at bay until you've dropped it?
Possibly. He lives in the country. We're conducting a kind of long-distance relationship.
That's good. Once you have whelped, you may continue your courtship à deux. Tête-à-tête. Paddling palms and lips and tongues.
I fear the child may still prove an obstacle to my hopes of matrimony.
Well, there is a woman lives locally, Mother Midnight they call her. She can be quite helpful in these kinds of situations.
Please don't get the wrong idea. I've no intention of miscarrying.
Oh, no, my dear. That's not the only service she offers. She is a woman of many talents. Allow me to effect an introduction.
Hello, my chicken. Do sit down.
Thank you.
You may call me Mother. Many do.
Thank you, Mother.
Now then, a little bird tells me that you were in such circumstances as may render your lying in repugnant to you.
Well, yes.
If you think fit to communicate so much of your case to me as is necessary, for I do not desire to pry into these things, I may be in a position to help you and to make you perfectly easy and remove all your dull thoughts upon that subject. Anything you tell me will be in complete confidence. I give you my most solemnest promise.
Right, well, my husband, the man I call my husband...
Madam, all the ladies that come under my care are married women to me.
Yes, well, I am actually married, but...
Whether you're a wife or a mistress is all one to me.
But I am actually married.
As you wish.
But, oh, no, never mind.
I don't, and I won't.
I told her the tale I've just told you, which she listened to with rapt attention. Didn't turn a hair, not even when I told her that my baby's father was my brother.
Your difficulty, madam, if I correctly divine it, is that you have no security to prevent the parish impertinences usual in such cases, and do not know very well how to dispose of the child when it comes.
In a nutshell.
Well, madam, dare you put yourself into my care? I live in Badger Street, at the sign of the Cradle. I am a midwife by profession, and I have many ladies that come to my house to lie in. I have but one question to ask in the whole affair, and if that be answered, you shall be entirely easy for all the rest.
Let me guess. Clinky, clinky.
I told her that I did not want money, so far as may be necessary, though I did not abound in it, either.
Very sensible. Don't want to get in greedy.
Well, madam, you shall see that I will not impose upon you or offer anything that is unkind to you, and if you desire it, you shall know everything beforehand, that you may suit yourself to the occasion, and be neither costly or sparing as you see fit.
I asked her to order it so that I might be at as little superfluous charge as possible.
Of course, madam. If you desire it, I will give you an account of the expenses, as it were a bill of fare, from which you should choose as you please.
I told her I did desire it.
Very well. The economy package comes in at £13.13 exactly, which includes 3 months bed and board, a nurse for 1 month, use of childbed linen, a minister to christen the child, a supper for 5 at the christening, further guests to be added pro rata, 1 maidservant attending, in addition to my fees as midwife, and disbursements to the parish. The premium economy comes in at £26.18 and includes all of the above, with sweetmeats and ale served at the christening supper for unlimited guests. My highest rated...
I'll go for the economy.
The economy package?
Yes, please.
An excellent choice.
I'm afraid it's all I can afford at the moment.
Never fear, for I treat my economy guests with the same regard as my premium guests. It's all one to me. And then, madam, if the child should not live, or should be dead-born, as you know sometimes happens, then there is the minister's article saved. And if you have no friends to come to you, you may save the expense of a supper. So that take those articles out, madam, your lying in will not cost you above £5.03 over and above your ordinary charge of living in your present lodgings.
I told her it was the most reasonable thing that I ever heard of, and I would be happy to live with her in due course.
What did she mean, how to dispose of it? How to dispose of the child when he comes? What does she mean by that?
Well, childcare.
Childcare?
Yeah, she had people at hand who, for a piece of money, would relieve them of the child and any responsibilities, devolving to the parish, too.
And what happened to them?
Well, they were, as she assured me, honestly provided for and taken care of.
By who?
Well, obviously such a service relies on the absolute discretion of everyone involved.
So you don't know who?
She assured me she had no nurses in her business, but that they were good, honest people, and as such might be entirely depended upon.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Look, she was saving children who would otherwise have been got rid of.
Ah.
She was saving women who might otherwise die as a result of botched operations, or who, having survived, might be brought to the gallows for the destruction or attempted destruction of their children.
A sort of modern saint, then?
Oh, shut up. We became firm friends over the course of my confinement, and when the child came, it was as if my very own mother delivered it.
Oh, one last push. There. Well done. Good girl. Oh, I spy a fine pair of knackers. It's a boy. Right. Right, let's get it cleaned up and taken through to the wet nurse.
And thus, unencumbered, I was free to marry.
Elizabeth, wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou obey him and serve him, love, honour, and keep him in sickness and in health, and forsaking all other, keep thee only to him so long as ye both shall live?
I will.
What was his name, out of interest?
His name?
Your husband.
Now, look, I don't want you putting anyone's real name in that book.
You don't know it, do you?
Of course I know it.
You can't remember it.
It's all come to me. I want to say Geoffrey. No, Gerard.
How many husbands have you had, actually?
To date, 5. But this one is my last.
Jemmy?
Yes, my gentleman of the road.
Well, let's hope so, eh? Where is he, by the way? Has he been to see you?
Not yet. He finds this place vexatious to his spirit, and noxious to his schnozzle, and being a highwayman of some notoriety, he doesn't fancy his chances of getting out of here once he's set foot inside.
Yeah, fair point. So, how long were you married to your merchant?
Just long enough for his investments to crash, taking my entire fortune with them.
Good Lord.
His investment strategy left something to be desired, apparently. I don't really understand it. It affected him terribly. He became moody, and then morose, then taciturn, then resentful, and sank by stages into torpor and thence despair. One morning I found him lifeless upon the front lawn. Whether by his own hand or not, I cannot say.
Dear, dear.
The bailiff seized our house and all its contents, and that was the end of that. I was destitute once again.
So how did you live?
I returned to Mother Midnight's house in Badger Street by the sign of the crib. And that, I fear, was my undoing.
How so?
Well, the thing is, you see, as well as her duties as midwife, the old dame did a nice little sideline in handling stolen goods.
I see. What a terrible state of affairs when midwives have to handle stolen goods to make ends meet.
Quite so. Now, what should I do? I fancied every sixpence that I paid for a loaf of bread was the last I had in the world, and that tomorrow I was to fast, and the day after that be starved to death.
Give me not poverty, lest I steal, as it says in the Proverbs.
It's true. I stole. Mother?
Whatever is the matter, dear?
Let me in, please let me in. I've had the most terrible fright.
Put down your bundle. Whatever has happened to you?
This bundle?
Yes.
I stole it.
You stole it?
Yes. God forgive me. I don't know what came over me. I just saw it in the doorway.
What doorway? Where?
The apothecary's shop in Leadenhall Street.
Oh, yes, I know it.
I was walking by when I noticed this bundle lying on the stool by the counter.
What, just lying there all on its own?
Well, there was a maidservant with her back to it, talking to the apothecary's apprentice. And he was standing on the counter, reaching for something on a shelf that she was pointing at. And they were both distracted, and there was nobody else around. And the feeling came over me.
Nicky.
Yes.
You have to act quickly in those situations.
That's what I thought. I thought, be quick. Do it this moment. And so I picked it up as casual as if it belonged to me, and I was off.
Not running?
No.
Never run. You'll attract attention.
I didn't run.
Oh, good girl. Which way did you go?
Well, I crossed the street and went down the first turning I came to. I think it was a street that went through to Fenchurch Street.
Oh, I'm with you.
And from there I crossed and turned through so many ways and turnings that I could never tell exactly which way it was, nor where I went, for I felt not the ground I stepped on. I was so fearful and oh...
Excited?
Yes, exactly. Excited. God forgive me.
And this is the bundle?
This is it.
Oh, have you opened it yet?
Not yet, no. I've been hiding in the alley off Brown's Yard all day. I was going to come home, but then I thought, what if they're waiting for me there?
Who?
I don't know who.
You mean people chasing you?
Yes.
Did anybody see you?
No.
Then nobody will find you. Cop yourself on, girl. You're imagining things.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
Now, shall we peek inside this bundle of yours and see what you've landed?
All right. You do it.
What have we here? Oh, a suit of childbed linen, very good, and almost new by the looks of it. Very fine lace. Oh, a porringer, silver I would guess. A silver mug, quite small, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 silver spoons. Handkerchiefs, 1, 2, 3, silk 2. Oh, a smock, good quality. And what's in that mug? Have a look, go on. What is it?
Money. 18 shillings and sixpence.
An excellent haul. You've done well, child. Cheer up.
But what am I now? A thief?
Well, technically, yes. Are you thinking of doing it again?
I don't know, but what if I do? What if I'm taken next time and carried to Newgate to be tried for my life? I must take all of this back. I must take it back now, or I will never sleep again.
And did you?
Sleep?
No, take it back.
Oh, no. I mean, I didn't sleep much that night, but I did sleep a little, and in the morning I felt much more positive about everything. Mother Midnight promised to find homes for all the little pieces in the bundle in return for 60% of whatever she got for it, and the prospect of the cash allayed most, if not all, of my negative thoughts. In fact, what remained with me was the excitement, the thrill of the chase, of being predator and prey. And so my life of crime began in earnest, at which point I met Jemmy.
Stand and deliver!
Hang on. Let me set it up. I thought I would visit my first husband's parents in Colchester. You remember Robin?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Robin. He wrote me poems, you know. Why don't you ever write me poems?
Not really my style, to be honest.
No. Anyway, I was coining it, so I just wanted to show what I'd made of myself. And so I dressed in all my finery and jewels and climbed aboard the Dover stage.
Stand and deliver!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry to interrupt your journey, but I'm afraid my colleague and I would like to relieve you of your cash and any random bits of bling you might have about you. My God, you're gorgeous.
Thanks. I didn't make it to Colchester that day.
I like your freckles.
Thank you.
Freckles are kryptonite for men. Didn't you know that?
No.
Well, they are.
Is that good?
Oh, yeah. Really good. What colour would you call your hair?
Oh, I don't know. Changes with the light. Flaxen, sometimes auburn, maybe.
Dirty blonde.
Stop it.
What?
Jemmy was fun, but he had no money. We hung out in the rookeries of London and burned our way through my money. It was then we began to shift.
Shift? What's that?
Well, as you know, the London mob likes nothing better than a hue and cry, so Jemmy and I came up with a plan. I would dress in widow's weeds and walk along a street of shops, and Jemmy would call out all of a sudden.
Stop! Thief! Stop! Thief! Wait! Where is she, mate?
Look, she! Dressed in widow's weeds. That's what I heard.
Widow's weeds! One dressed in widow's weeds! Look, there she is!
There she is!
There's that one there! Stop her! Come on,
What's the matter? Take your hands off me! What are you doing?
I think you know what the matter is, my lady.
Well, the mob gathered round me and dragged me to the mercer's shop on the corner of Ironmonger Lane.
Someone fetch the constable. Right, mate, is this your shop?
Yes, mate.
We caught this woman stealing from you.
No, you didn't. I was walking down Cheapside, minding my own business.
But, Nit, you were identified by a witness.
What witness? Where is this witness?
Well, look. What did she steal?
What did you steal?
I didn't steal anything.
Don't you know what she stole?
No.
Well, didn't you start the hue and cry?
No.
Well, someone did. Who was it? Was it one of your apprentices?
Ben, did you start the hue and cry?
No.
What about Colin? Where is he?
He's gone for dinner round his mum's.
Oh, well, it couldn't have been him then.
Well, it might have been. He could have started the hue and cry, then gone for dinner around his mum's.
Well, it doesn't sound very likely. Ben, go and fetch Colin.
All right.
I'll go through the stock and see what's missing.
Well, there's always something missing, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I'll go through it anyway.
Someone should search this wench.
I'll do it.
Oh, get your filthy hands off me, you pervert. Where's the constable?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
What's going on?
These men have grabbed me on the public street and dragged me here against my will.
She's been caught hoisting.
Where are the witnesses?
Witness, singular.
Where is he?
If someone's gone to fetch him.
What's your name, missus?
Elizabeth Atkins, what's yours?
Beg your pardon.
Since you conspire with these gentlemen to keep me here against my will, whilst they molest me, I would like to know your name.
What do you mean, conspire?
Good, yeah.
Name, address and occupation.
Don't concern yourself with that. You'll be sure to hear my name when you come to the Old Bailey.
His name's Chris Julian. He lives at number 12 Old Jewellery and he's a corn handler by trade. I am his neighbour.
Thank you. Well, Chris, I hope you will not take it ill if I make myself amends upon you at the Old Bailey by and by.
Upon what cause?
Do you know what false arrest is?
Right, where is the witness?
But he's on his way.
What is this lady alleged to have stolen?
Well, it's hard to tell, to be honest. I mean, we keep a lot of stock.
Keep looking.
You. Yes, I want you to remember all of this, what's done and what's said. For I may want your evidence in another place, and it should not be the worse for you to speak.
I'm at yours to command,
Look,
madam.
why don't we all just leave off flapping our gums until the witness has got here?
Constable, what do you say to that? Let it be noted that the constable grants the plaintiff's request for my indefinite forcible detention in the absence of any evidence whatsoever.
Well, now, look. Maybe you should let her go.
Maybe you should do your duty.
Don't tell me my duty. I know my duty.
Here he is. Colin, right, lad. Is this the woman?
What woman?
That stole from our shop?
Oh, I don't know. I've been round my mum's.
Didn't you start the hue and cry?
What hue and cry?
Right.
Oh, don't tell me I missed the hue and cry.
To summarise, there is nothing missing from your stock. There are no witnesses. I have been falsely accused, manhandled and detained against my will in your shop.
Well, there's obviously been some kind of a mistake. I can only offer you my sincerest apology and hope that you will not take it ill.
Thank you, but your apology costs you nothing.
She's right, you know. She has the law on her side there. I did tell you to let her go, didn't I?
Why don't you stick to your job?
Right. Well, if you want, I'll arrest you and take you before the justices. You have broken the peace in bringing an honest woman out of the street when she was about her lawful occasion, confining her in your shop and ill-using her here.
Madam, I would fain have you tell me what it is you expect by way of reparation.
I'll let the justices decide that for me. Constable, please arrest him.
Shall we say £5 for your trouble?
Sir, I dare not preempt the mind of the court, although £5 sounds far from adequate recompense.
10.
500.
500?
And a suit of black silk clothes.
What? That's...
I got my 500 in court. Less the few quid I paid to a pettifogging hedge solicitor. After this hustle, coming home and telling Mother Midnight the story, she falls a-laughing at me.
500 nicker for getting caught. Why, this job will be the best bargain that you ever made in your life.
The story has not so much laughing room in it as you fancy. I'm sure I had a great deal of hurry and fright, too, at the hands of such a pack of ugly rogues.
My dear, I only laugh to see what a fortunate creature you are.
It wasn't just luck, you know. Took a fair amount of planning.
I'm sure it did, dear. I'm sure it did.
Lizzie, why must we always share our takings with that woman?
That woman's been like a mother to me.
But she's not your mother.
When I was in trouble, she took care of me. I'll always be in her debt.
I admire your loyalty. I only hope that one day you'll be as loyal to your husband.
Well, perhaps if I had a husband, I would be.
Oh, not that again.
Jemmy.
Do you know, she has a house at Mile End. We have nothing.
We don't have nothing.
We have little enough.
Jemmy, I would starve with you and beg.
Would you?
Yes. The only thing that matters is that we're together.
Well, that's very interesting.
Would you starve with me, Jemmy?
If you loved me, you wouldn't want me to starve.
Jemmy, where are you going? Jemmy!
So you were quite taken with this lad, then?
Yeah. God knows why.
You were in love.
I don't know.
Normally you can't be seen for dust once the money's gone.
I know. What was I thinking? To pacify him, I kept my distance from Mother Midnight. A month or two passed. One day I was walking in Charlotte Street.
Excuse me, miss. Miss, a word with you, if I may.
I saw at once it was a gentleman I'd robbed, not 2 weeks since, of a fine gold watch. I pretended not to hear him, then ran down the first alley I came to. There was a church in the next street, and I went inside to bide my time a while. The orphan choir were at their practice with the choir master. Such sweet music. I secretly thought, what if that boy were my boy? He would take after me, be musical.
Do you sometimes wonder where they are?
Who?
All of your children, Mrs. Atkins.
Better not to know.
Elizabeth, wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband?
Jemmy and I were married at last at Old St. John's in Coventry Street.
Wilt thou obey him and serve?
And took our lodgings by the Strand. One night, as I went walking...
My dear.
Oh, you startled me.
Where have you been?
Well,
It seems you do not need your mother now that you're flying high in the world.
Oh.
Have you come into money?
No, Jemmy and I are married.
A new husband. And it hardly seems a moment since you buried the last one.
It's been a year.
As long as that. And did the funeral bake meats coldly furnish forth the marriage tables?
What?
A shame you didn't care to invite your old mother.
What? Well, it was just the two of us, really. I mean, and the parson.
Or even come to visit her once in a while.
I was going to, but I've been rather busy.
Yes, you have been, haven't you? You've been a busy, busy girl. I keep hearing about your exploits on the underworld grapevine. You must have made quite a packet for yourself. And lover boy.
Mother, I can assure you I haven't done as well as you might think.
Don't try and put one over on me, my girl. I know what you are, even if you've forgotten. I know where you came from, and I know how soon you could be back there with the right word in the right place.
I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't mean to upset you.
I only want what's rightfully mine. My cut.
I felt quite literally torn in two. I went to Jemmy and pleaded with him, and we had a falling out. That's when he left me. Days passed, and I didn't hear a word from him. I went out by daylight to seek for what might happen. I wandered about, I knew not whither, in search of I know not what. And going through Aldersgate Street, I saw in front of me a child, all alone. Pretty little thing it was. Hello.
Hello.
You just been to the dancing school?
Yes.
I thought so. I thought there was a dancing school hereabout.
Madame Beauregard's.
Oh, is that it? Madame Beauregard's?
Yes.
And are you waiting for someone, my dear?
No.
To take you home?
No. I can go by myself.
Oh, that's good. Your mother trusts you to go by yourself?
Yes.
You know, I learnt to dance too when I was your age. I learnt to dance the gigue, the sarabande, the gavotte. That was my favourite. Do you like the gavotte?
I like the gavotte, the sarabande, the gigue and the passe-pied. Did Madame Beauregard teach you?
No, dear. I had a dancing master. A man called Mr. Chivers.
A man?
Yes, a man. Very handsome man he was too. Which way are you walking, dear?
This way.
Well then, I'll walk with you, shall I? My way is there as well, I said. And you know what? The child takes me by the hand and, prattling on as children do, it walks beside me.
And what was it that drew you to this child?
It had about its neck a little necklace of gold beads, and I had my eyes on that.
Ah.
And so I led the child along until we came to a paved alley that goes into Bartholomew Close.
Where are we going?
Home, dear.
But that's not my way home through there.
Oh, but it is, dear. 'Tis a shorter way than you might know. Come with me, I'll show you. Come on. Wait a moment. Your clog is loose. Let me mend it for you. And as I stooped, pretending to mend the child's clog, I took off its necklace, and the child never felt it. There. There, that's better, isn't it?
Thank you.
And I slipped the necklace in my pocket, and I looked at the child. The two of us standing in the dark of the alley and not another soul nearby. And such a feeling came over me to kill the child, that it might not cry and tell on me, for I would surely hang for what I had just done. But the thought so frightened me that I was ready to drop down. So I turned the child about. And now I bethink me, child, you are quite right. This is not your way home. Go back down the way we came in. Go on, go.
Will you come with me?
No, you must go alone.
But it's dark.
Still, you must go that way. The light's just ahead. Get on with you. And as soon as it was gone, I went through into Bartholomew Close, then turned down another passage that leads to St John Street, then crossed Smithfield and down Chick Lane and into Field Lane to Holborn Bridge. And there, mixed with the usual crowd of people passing, so it was not possible to have been found out, and I felt I was quite safe.
What did you get for the necklace?
A necklace?
Yeah. What did you get for it? That you stole from this child?
Don't remember. About 12 or 14 pounds, I think. Why'd you adopt that tone? I did the child no harm. I did not so much as fright it. I did nothing but what mere necessity drove me to.
Yeah, all right.
I gave the parents a just reproof for their negligence. A child of that age, left alone on London streets to wander home by itself. Anything could have happened. Teach them to take more care of it in future.
Yeah, a valuable lesson. 12 or 14 pounds worth at least.
You're taking against me.
No.
Yes, you are. You're taking against me. Just like all the rest.
Well, all right, I'll be honest. I don't think that was a very nice thing to do.
You see?
But I'm here, aren't I?
Because of your book.
No.
Don't lie.
I'm not.
Then why?
Because you move me. I wish to God you didn't, but you do.
So you are going soft on me, aren't you, Daniel?
You're a monster. Who's Jenny?
I don't know. But whoever she is, her time's up. She's taken that long walk down to the fatal tree. Oh, I feel a bit sick.
Don't worry. I'm going to sort it.
There's not a swine of the plain will be blessed as me. Oh, could you but on me smile. But do you feel so severe that trembling with fear my heart goes pitter-pat, pitter-pat, pitter-pat all the while?
Nathaniel. Daniel.
I've been looking for you.
Well, you found me.
I need your help. A friend of mine's in a spot of bother. A friend of yours too, as a matter of fact, Mrs. Atkins.
Ah, fine woman. Don't tell me you've allowed yourself to be sucked in.
I'm afraid I have.
Oh, you old fool.
She's in Newgate, indicted for felony and burglary.
Well, what do you expect me to do about it?
You're a lawyer, defender.
I'm not a lawyer, I'm a printer, Daniel.
With a fine appreciation of the law. You told me yourself you read law at Cambridge.
Yeah, well, I may have exaggerated somewhat.
Then where did you read law?
I didn't. I printed some books of law and I read those. I can defend myself against the charge of libel and worm my way into the good graces of a powerful protector, but as for standing up in court, quoting statutes and precedents never happened.
Even at risk of your relationship with Mrs. Atkins going public.
Oh, Daniel, it's the 18th century. Nobody cares. I'm a rake. Big whoop. Look, why don't you get her to plead her belly? That usually works.
She's not pregnant.
Then make her pregnant.
Jemmy Cole?
Do you mind?
Oh, God. Put it away, for God's sake. I do beg your pardon, miss.
It's all right.
How did you know where to find me?
I asked around.
What do you want?
Your wife is about to go on trial at the Old Bailey for her life. I wondered if you were thinking about putting in an appearance at some point.
It wouldn't benefit her to be seen associating with me, nor me with her.
Right. Any messages?
I told her to keep away from that rancid old hag she called Mother.
I'll say you sent your best.
Wait. I may adopt a disguise and sit in the gallery.
Okay.
All rise for His Honour, Judge Keith Stevenson. First case, Crown versus Atkins. Prisoner in the dock, how do you...
Read the indictment.
Yes, sorry, Your Honour. Quite right, first things first.
Do I speak now?
No, not yet. The indictment against Mrs. Atkins is that she did incestuously marry her own brother and bear a child to him, and having destroyed said child, did bigamously marry Gilbert Plumley, Esquire, now deceased, a merchant of Kingston upon Hull.
May I speak now?
No, you may not.
You must let her plead.
Oh, yes, of course. Prisoner in the dock, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Let it be recorded, the witness...
The accused.
Yes, the accused has pleaded not guilty to the indictment. Now, the witness must be heard, and then you may have your say, Mrs. Atkins. Call the witness, Mrs. Lucy Smart.
Call Lucy Smart. Lucy, what are you doing here?
I warned you, didn't I?
Place your hand on the Holy Bible. Do you swear down that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
On your mum's life?
Yes.
Think you swear?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, witness on the stand, please identify yourself.
My name is Lucy Smart.
And what is your occupation?
I'm working my notice as maidservant to Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Defoe of Stoke Newington.
Do you recognise the prisoner in the dock?
Yes, Elizabeth Atkins. She came to speak to me about my master because he was writing a book about her. Here's the book. It notarises all her crimes.
Let me see it.
Wait, that's my property.
Silence in court. Silence, or I'll have you slung out on your ear.
It's all there, sir. Her entire life of wickedness, whoredom, adultery, incest, lying, theft and bigamy.
Don't you see, Your Honour, it's all made up. All of it. I made it up. I'm a novelist.
And a very long-winded one, too, by the looks of it.
I turned down the relevant pages, Your Honour.
Oh, good.
Lucy, why have you done this? I promised we would find another position for you.
You wrote a book about her. Why didn't you write one about me?
Well, maybe I will.
You said you were going to. You lied. Obviously, I wasn't interesting enough for you.
Lucy, please.
Well, you gave me jewellery. You can keep it. Here's your stupid necklace. It should be you in the dock, not her.
Come on, settle down.
Mrs. Atkins, what have you to say to this charge of child destruction?
It's not true. The child would be an inconvenience to me, but I would not have it destroyed, nor ask for it to be.
Then where is it? Mrs. Atkins, where is your child?
I don't know, Your Honour.
You cannot produce it before the court?
No, I cannot.
Mrs. Atkins, what do you say why sentence should not be passed?
I have now neither remorse nor repentance. No thought of heaven or hell. I neither have a heart to ask God's mercy, so I don't know why I'd be asking yours.
Oh, brilliant. The court will rise.
Elizabeth Atkins, it is the sentence of this court that you be taken from here to a place of execution.
Wait, stop. I don't like this ending. I don't like it. It's a downer. It won't sell.
It's what happened.
What's that got to do with anything?
I am with child.
That's better.
Are you quite sure?
I am, Your Honour.
Much better.
And is the child quickening?
It is.
Clerk of the court, would you mind?
Oh, certainly, Your Honour. May I?
Be my guest.
Oh, I felt it kick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. Well, in that case, I will respite you until this child is born, after which you must come before this court again, which in the first half of the 18th century invariably results in the sentence being commuted to transportation. So you know. Happy days!
Jemmy! Glad you could make it.
Why are you dressed like that?
Long story.
So whose is it, do you know?
Not sure. Could be yours for all I know.
Could it?
I mean, probably isn't.
No, quite.
It could be.
Well, in the sense that you'd like me to support it?
Do you really have such a low opinion of me?
No, sorry, I'm sorry.
Come on, Lizzie! We'd better get aboard!
Shall I write to you, tell you what happens to me, so you can finish your book?
Yeah, see, the only problem with that is I've got a deadline.
What's that?
Well, I promised the printer that I'll have the book ready for him in 2 weeks.
2 weeks? My story won't be over in 2 weeks.
No, so I'll have to wing it. I'll make a few guesses.
What have you got planned for me, then?
Well, it's a fair bet that you'll go to your husband's plantation in America.
Nailed on, I would have thought.
He'll be dead, of course.
Dead?
No, not dead. No, what am I talking about? Very ill. Yes, fading away, you know. The shock of losing you will have dealt him a mortal blow.
Oh, that makes me feel awful.
It's nobody's fault. I mean, in this day and age, who can really be sure they haven't inadvertently married a sibling?
What about my mother?
You know, I'm sorry, but I think the likelihood is she'll be long gone.
Yeah, she was quite old. She'd had a hard life, I think. Glad that I met her. And you.
Ditto.
Bye, then.
Bye.
We are now grown old. I am come back to England, being almost 50 years of age, and my husband 48.
Upon my return, I went in search of Mr. Defoe, but found he had departed this life some years before. He had left the manuscript of his book unpublished, which his daughter gave to me, albeit unwittingly as I smuggled it out of the house under my skirts, and which I hereby publish, under the name he gave to me, Moll Flanders. I have made certain minor amendments to the text.
In Moll Flanders by Daniel Defoe, Moll Flanders was played by Jessica Hynes and Daniel Defoe by Ben Miles. Mother Midnight was played by Alison Steadman. Jemmy was Blake Ritson. Mr. Mist, Brian Protheroe, and Lucy was Kirsty Oswald. The jailer was played by Sean Baker. Rob was Nick Underwood. His mother, Elizabeth Bennett, and the merchant by Jason Barnett. The landlady was Claire Perkins, and the child was Alex Jarrett. The mercer was played by James Laley. The apprentice, Sam Ricks, and Colin was Tom Forrester. Moll Flanders was adapted by Nick Perry, and the director was Sasha Yevtushenko.